Welcome into another edition of the Liberty Report. I am your host, Brett Mason, as we talk about all things liberty and freedom related. Maybe some good news for the Libertarian Party, or at least a Freedom Party, or some type of independent candidate for this run. We'll have to see how it turns out. New report in from Rasmussen that shows 24% of people say they would completely sit out the election or vote for an independent or third-party candidate if the final ticket is Trump versus Hillary Clinton. I find this interesting in that, there appears to be a hunger for something different and something new, although I think obviously misguided. The Bernie movement is wildly misguided. Bernie Sanders has a few concepts that even libertarians can agree with, most of them largely not. And Trump maybe has an issue or two a libertarian could agree with, but for the most part, Trump is a statist, he's an authoritarian, he's maybe one of the worst I've ever seen. Nevertheless, a general election that involved Hillary Clinton and Trump would be interesting, and if this report from Rasmussen is accurate at all, could bode well for potentially a libertarian candidate. We'll see. In the past, libertarians have been happy to garner 5% of the vote, 6% of the vote. 10% of the vote would be huge, 15% would be huge. Apparently 16% of this 24%, so not 16% of the 24%, but 16% overall, say that they would either sit out or vote for a third-party candidate, and I think this bodes well. The rest of the 24%, which is 8, breaks down into people who just wouldn't vote at all. They would stay at home, or they don't know what they would do. Those are the most annoying people to me, the ones that say they don't know what they would do. Nevertheless, obviously, a libertarian candidate is not going to win this election, and I don't know how many years it would take before a libertarian candidate could win an election for a seat like President of the United States. However, the larger of the portion of votes we get, it tends to increase, expand, and improve upon the libertarian movement. We saw it happen with Rand Paul to a lesser extent, but anytime you have those themes and ideals out there, it definitely offers opportunity to expand the platform, to bring new people into the fold, educate people, which is what happened to me. I was a dyed-in-the-wool Republican, conservative, beat the war drum Republican, as recently as 2005, maybe 2006. And then I started being exposed to other things, and now I pretty much consider myself a libertarian. So you can see that does happen. Nevertheless, that report from Rasmussen. The next story comes from a website I'm not sure how much stock I give to its credibility in reporting. It's the Inquisitor. Nevertheless, it has a new detailed report detailing how Hillary Clinton could potentially violated FEC campaign rules. And it's kind of convoluted. I'm not going to go into the details, but I will link you to the article so you can go read it for yourself. If you talk to people in the know, especially if they fall on the conservative side of the aisle, it seems like it's almost a foregone conclusion that Hillary Clinton will be brought on some kind of charges. She'll be indicted or something. When that will happen seems to be the big question mark. If you talk to people on the other side of the aisle, they're not so sure. And if you talk to, people who are third-party oriented or libertarian oriented like me, I think Hillary has spent her entire life building friendships and not only gaining the support of people who could help her through something like this, but in my opinion, probably collecting secrets on those people as well. If you're going to be a person who pursues power, and you're going to be a person who, pursues something as lofty as the President of the United States, even considering what Bill did, but she was a big part of that. You collect secrets on the way, and you call those secrets in. Now, how many of those people that she has secrets on are still in power? That's a good question. She was out of the public political view there for a little bit, and the longer time has gone on since she was at her peak of power, I think a lot of people have moved out of the political, judicial, FBI, power centers of the government. I think provided there's enough of them still there, I think Hillary probably has enough secrets in her back pocket and enough information that she could pretty much put a halt or a kibosh to any type of indictment or charges against her. Time will tell. We will see. The last little bit of information for today's show that I have regards Kim Davis, the, in my opinion, much maligned and complete whack job town clerk in Kentucky who refused to issue marriage licenses after the Supreme Court had ruled. And she was just nasty about it. She was hailed and made out to be a big hero by people like the disgusting and despicable Mike Huckabee. Thousands of evangelicals, hundreds of thousands, rallied around her and claimed she was being persecuted, which was ironic to me considering she was the person doing the persecuting. Not only was she an individual persecuting others, she was using her government office to do it under the banner of religion. And how an evangelical or any other religious group could endorse and stand behind somebody using a government office to force their religious views on you when you don't agree with them is beyond me. How people could not see, religious people I mean, how you could not see that one day that could be you standing there and the person on the other side of the counter, this time is not a Christian. This time it's not a person that agrees with you in your holy book. Suddenly, you're the one getting the shaft. You're the one being punished. Then it would be a different story. That's why we don't have government making decisions and issuing licenses and all those things based on religion. You just don't do it. That's how we ensure that we have freedom of religion in this country, is by not allowing government to intervene in our religious beliefs. You hold your religious beliefs private. Doesn't mean you can't share them publicly. That's part of the freedom of religion. But you guide yourself, your family. That's who you guide with your religious beliefs, not complete strangers coming in trying to get a license from the federal or state or local government. Nevertheless, the Federal Appeals Court has dismissed the clerk Kim Davis's claim that required her to issue marriage licenses that bore her name to same-sex couples. That was her big issue. Of course, the settlement that they negotiated earlier did away with that. Her name doesn't have to appear on there, so it kind of became a moot point. It's not that big of a ruling or decision. It's not that big of a deal, but I think it finally puts to bed the insanity of this public employee run amok, forcing her religious beliefs on others, which directly violates the Constitution of the United States of America. Thanks for liking us on Facebook. Liberty Report with Brett Mason. Our website is thelibrep.com, and you can also find us on YouTube. Our podcast as well. You can download it iTunes, Stitcher, the Google Play Store, Liberty Report with Brett Mason. And we have a free app available for iOS or Android. Just go to your respective app stores. It's absolutely free. Search for Brett Mason Media. This show is a part of the Brett Mason Media Network. The app is free. Not only will you get access to this show, you'll get access to all of the other Brett Mason Media shows. Thanks for watching the Liberty Report with Brett Mason.